Let's admit it, most of us tend to avoid facing uncomfortable emotions, especially when it comes to relationships with others. Realizing that someone doesn't like us or harbors negative feelings toward us is one of the most unpleasant experiences. We fear rejection, isolation, and worry that their dislike may reflect something about our own worth. For this reason, instead of confronting the truth, many choose to keep interacting on the surface, smiling and maintaining seemingly normal relationships, even when they know something is off. Instead of openly facing negative emotions, people often choose to hide their discomfort behind fake smiles, compliments that appear sincere but carry a subtle sting, or polite yet cold actions. This makes it harder to recognize their true feelings, and sometimes we don't even dare admit to ourselves that we're being treated unfairly. This avoidance doesn't just harm us emotionally, it also causes us to waste time and energy on relationships that aren't truly healthy. Surely you've been in that situation. You think someone is your friend, someone you can trust and share your joys and sorrows with. You spend time with them, building a relationship based on trust and closeness. But one day you realize that behind their sweet words and friendly smiles, they actually wish ill upon you. They may not say it outright, but you can sense it through small signs, subtle remarks, or even neglectful actions you once overlooked. The truth is, humans often protect themselves from hurt by ignoring these signs. We don't want to believe that someone might dislike us because it makes us feel inadequate or unworthy. However, Stoic philosophy teaches us one important thing. What happens outside of us matters far less than how we respond to it. We cannot control others' emotions, but we can always control how we perceive and handle the situation. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic philosophers, once said, "What others think is beyond our control. Their actions too, but our response is always within our power." This means that instead of avoiding or ignoring the signs that someone doesn't like us, we should face them with calmness and clarity. Because if we don't recognize these signs, we'll continue wasting time and energy on relationships that don't truly value or respect us. And the longer we drag it out, the more we risk getting stuck in hurt and doubt about our own self-worth. Imagine spending time with someone only to realize they don't respect you, or worse, that they want you to fail. This is heartbreaking, but it's also an opportunity for self-reflection and to learn how to set clearer boundaries in your relationships. Stoicism doesn't encourage us to avoid negative emotions. Instead, we should embrace them as part of life. Epictetus once said, "It's not the events themselves that harm us, but how we view them." This means that when you realize someone dislikes you, rather than feeling hurt or angry, see it as a lesson. Take it as an opportunity to build healthier relationships with those who truly respect and stand by you. For many, the realization that someone dislikes them often brings feelings of insecurity and anxiety. But remember, others' emotions are not a reflection of your value. You cannot please everyone, and there's nothing wrong with that. Stoicism teaches us not to let others' emotions and validation dictate our actions and self-confidence. Self-respect comes from knowing your worth, not from how others perceive you. This is crucial in keeping your mind steady during awkward situations. Today, we'll explore 7 signs that someone doesn't like you but is hiding it, and more importantly, how to face this truth calmly and wisely in the spirit of Stoic philosophy. Remember, recognizing the truth, even though it may hurt at first, will ultimately set you free. Once you know who truly cares for you and who is merely an observer, you'll be able to invest your time and energy in more meaningful relationships. Each sign we'll discuss is not only a way to identify someone's dislike, but also an opportunity to improve your relationships with others and yourself. If you find these signs present in your life, don't rush to feel sad or disappointed. Remember, true freedom comes from letting go of what's not worth holding on to and building a life based on values you truly believe in. Let's dive into the first sign, seemingly harmless jokes that are actually subtle attacks on your self-esteem. They frequently joke about your flaws. We all have friends who enjoy making jokes, and often, a bit of humor can strengthen relationships. Lighthearted, playful jokes usually help us feel more comfortable in social settings, creating a relaxed and fun atmosphere. However, there's a type of joke that you should be cautious about, one that doesn't just aim for amusement, but repeatedly targets your flaws, leaving you feeling uncomfortable or even hurt. These jokes are not meant to entertain, but rather serve as a subtle form of disrespect, and they may be a way for the other person to test your boundaries. Why does this happen? People who intend to control or belittle others often don't do so with direct, blunt words. Instead, they use seemingly harmless jokes to poke fun, hoping you won't notice or feel too awkward to respond. They exploit the delicate nature of social interactions, knowing that we've all been taught, if you can't take a joke, the problem is with you. This is how others test your limits, seeing if you'll easily accept the sarcasm or insults. And every time you brush it off or laugh along, they might take it as silent consent and push the boundaries even further. In Stoic philosophy, Marcus Aurelius once said, "Don't let the thoughts of others control your emotions. Others may speak, but you always control how you react." This means that no matter what someone says about you, how you receive and react to it is entirely within your control. You can't change how others behave, but you can adjust your own attitude and emotions. When confronted with jokes that feel like an attack, there's an important question to ask yourself. Is this really just harmless teasing, or is there something deeper behind it? Sometimes jokes can reflect a truth that you haven't yet recognized. For example, if someone keeps joking about your work performance, it might be time to reflect on whether there's room for improvement. However, if the jokes repeatedly focus on the same topic, especially your weaknesses, things you can't or find hard to change, it's clear that this person is intentionally putting you in a tough spot. These belittling jokes are often not meant to amuse, but are a subtle form of psychological control. Sometimes the joker isn't necessarily trying to hurt you directly, but is attempting to assert superiority. By targeting your weaknesses, they want to feel more powerful in the relationship. This could stem from their personal insecurities or even a need to maintain their status within a social group. When jokes repeatedly focus on your weaknesses and never shift to positive comments about your strengths, it's a clear sign of undermining. They may say, "I'm just kidding, don't take it so seriously." But when the jokes always come across as critical or make you uncomfortable, you need to recognize that it's not a coincidence. A typical example is when someone frequently jokes about your appearance or the way you speak or work. Initially, you might laugh, thinking it's harmless teasing, but over time, you start feeling uneasy, even self-conscious. This is the moment to pause and reflect. Am I being subtly insulted without realizing it? Jokes about your flaws don't help you grow. They only make you feel worse about yourself. Epictetus, another Stoic philosopher, once said, "It's not the event itself that harms you, but how you perceive it." These seemingly harmless jokes may not hurt you if you view them correctly and understand that you're not the problem. It's the way others are trying to affect you. Recognizing the truth and not allowing others to manipulate your emotions is the first step in protecting yourself. When you start to feel that the jokes are crossing the line, you have every right to protect yourself. It's essential to respond calmly and skillfully. If you feel insulted or belittled, there's nothing wrong with speaking up. You can clearly but gently express that you're uncomfortable with the recurring jokes. This is not a sign of weakness or being overly sensitive. It's an act of defending your self-respect. You could try saying something like, "I know you're just joking, but I don't feel comfortable when the same topic keeps being joked about." Or you could confront them with a question. "Do you really think those jokes are funny? Because I don't feel that way." This approach avoids offending the other person while making it clear that their words have crossed a line. In Stoic philosophy, Seneca once said, "We don't need to argue with those who don't understand us, because your true value doesn't lie in what others see, but in the self-respect and understanding within you." This means that when faced with someone trying to put you down, rather than feeling angry or hurt, remember that you always have control over how you react. Don't let negative jokes diminish your sense of worth. Instead of allowing these jokes to affect your self-esteem, focus on building inner strength. In Stoic philosophy, not letting others dictate your emotions is a key principle. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Your mind is your most precious asset. Use it to guard your peace." When you feel belittled, ask yourself, do their words truly reflect who I am? If the answer is no, then there's no reason for you to feel hurt. Don't let others' negative jokes seep into your thoughts and create unnecessary doubts about yourself. Remember, you are not defined by what others say about you. You are defined by what you believe about yourself. Finally, when you recognize these belittling jokes for what they are, you'll realize that you don't need to continue enduring this disrespect. Setting clear boundaries not only protects your self-esteem, but also helps you build healthier relationships based on mutual respect. Now that we've understood how jokes about personal flaws can be a sign of disrespect, we'll explore another subtle yet powerful indicator of undermining your self-esteem: those so-called backhanded compliments. Are they truly meant to encourage you, or are they just another form of control? Let's dive deeper into this in the next section. They compliment you in a way that makes you feel worse. We all love compliments because they are acknowledgments, encouragements, and uplifting to the spirit. A sincere compliment not only creates positive connections in relationships, but also helps us feel more confident about ourselves. However, not all compliments are meant to uplift. Some compliments, instead of bringing joy, leave behind an uneasy feeling, perhaps even making us doubt our self-worth. These are not genuine compliments, but rather backhanded compliments. You've probably heard something like, "Wow, I didn't expect you to pull that off," or, "Oh, that turned out better than I thought." On the surface, these may seem like compliments, but upon closer reflection, you realize they're not truly acknowledging your success. Instead, they're veiled with sarcasm, implying that you weren't really capable of achieving it. Such compliments aren't meant to praise your effort, but are subtly designed to keep you feeling inferior, a covert way of undermining your confidence. Backhanded compliments are a form of recognition cloaked in acknowledgement, but hiding mockery or insinuations of inadequacy. A typical example might be someone saying, "Oh, you're better at this than I thought." On the surface, it seems like praise, but what's really implied is, "I didn't believe you had this ability, and your success surprised me." This shows that the person never genuinely believed in your capability, and your success is seen as an exception, not something you're regularly capable of achieving. These compliments aren't aimed at boosting your spirit, but rather at keeping you in a lower position, helping the one giving the compliment feel superior. They subtly remind you that, in their eyes, you're not as good as you think, and whenever you do something well, it's merely a surprise, not the result of your hard work or true talent. There are several reasons why someone might choose to give you insincere or undermining compliments. One of these reasons is their own insecurity. When someone feels inadequate or lacks confidence, they may use such compliments to keep others at a safe distance, protecting their own self-esteem. By complimenting you in a way that makes you feel worse, they control their own feelings and ensure that they still feel above you. Another reason is the need to maintain control in the relationship. People who tend to be controlling often don't want others to feel too confident or successful because that might threaten their power in the relationship. By giving you a compliment that subtly undermines, they keep you in a state of not feeling good enough, always seeking their approval, thus keeping themselves in a higher position. Stoic philosophy deeply understands this issue and emphasizes, our value is not determined by how others perceive us, but by how we perceive ourselves. Seneca's quote, "What harms you is not what happens, but how you view it," teaches us that the words of others hold no power unless we allow them to infiltrate our minds and emotions. Such compliments can cause confusion and negatively affect your self-esteem. At first, you might feel puzzled because the compliment seems positive, but it leaves behind an uncomfortable feeling. Over time, these backhanded compliments can accumulate and make you question your abilities. You start wondering, am I really doing well? Or are they just being polite? When you allow these negative thoughts to take over, you begin to lose your confidence. This is one of the most subtle forms of psychological manipulation. The person giving the backhanded compliment doesn't need to attack you directly, but they are quietly shaking your confidence and self-worth by planting seeds of doubt in your mind. This can lead you to a state of self-criticism without even realizing it. When you realize you are the target of backhanded compliments, it's essential to stay mentally alert and not let these words shake your confidence. Remember, your worth isn't determined by what others say. It's determined by what you feel and believe about yourself. One way to deal with backhanded compliments is not to let them affect your self-esteem. If someone says, "Wow, I didn't expect you to do this so well," you can respond by saying, "Thank you. I know I worked hard to achieve this." This not only acknowledges their compliment, but also affirms that your results come from your effort and ability, not just luck or coincidence. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, once said, "You can't control what others say about you, but you can control how you respond to it." This means that you don't need to get angry or upset when someone gives you a backhanded compliment. Instead, focus on what you can control, your self-esteem and confidence. One of the most important ways to deal with backhanded compliments is to build solid self-esteem from within. When you know your value and trust in your abilities, such compliments won't have a strong impact on you. Stoic philosophy teaches, your true value doesn't lie in what others say about you, but in how you live and act. This means that when you act according to the values you believe in and stay true to yourself, you won't need external validation to feel good enough. Building internal self-esteem requires you to evaluate yourself objectively. Recognize your successes and efforts without waiting for approval from others. This doesn't mean you should reject all compliments, but rather that you will learn to distinguish between sincere praise and compliments that seek to diminish. If you realize that someone continuously gives backhanded compliments, don't hesitate to protect yourself. You can cleverly respond by asking them to clarify the meaning behind their compliment. For example, if someone says, "Oh, your work turned out better than I expected," you can reply, "Thank you, but I'm curious. What did you expect it to be like?" This not only makes the other person reflect on their words, but also shows that you won't easily accept compliments that aim to undermine you. Asking for clarity in compliments not only helps you establish boundaries in the relationship, but also demonstrates your confidence. You don't need to accept anything that damages your self-esteem, and standing up for yourself is entirely justified. Finally, remember, backhanded compliments cannot determine your worth. Don't let others control how you perceive yourself. In Stoic philosophy, we are taught that others may have their thoughts and opinions, but those thoughts do not belong to us, and we shouldn't let them govern our emotions. This is a key principle to maintain your self-esteem and confidence. No matter what others may say, always stand firm in your values and don't let backhanded compliments shake you. Those who truly respect you won't need to use such compliments to keep you beneath them. They will uplift you and provide space for you to grow, understanding that the value of a relationship lies in mutual respect and recognition. Now that we understand how backhanded compliments can subtly undermine your value, let's explore another sign that's equally subtle yet deeply impactful on your self-esteem. Being quietly excluded from plans. This is not just about forgetting to invite you, it's a deliberate way to keep you on the outside without directly confronting you. Let's dive deeper into this in the next section. They subtly exclude you from plans. In life, participating in plans, events, or social gatherings is often how we connect and build relationships with those around us. However, we aren't always clearly welcomed into these circles. Sometimes you may notice that you are subtly excluded from group plans, events, or gatherings involving friends, colleagues, or people you once trusted. They may not openly say they don't want you there, but their silence or the accidental forgetfulness of inviting you can be a sign that they don't like you, even though they don't want to admit it. This is one of the clearest signs of dislike, yet it's often easy to overlook because exclusion is frequently hidden behind excuses like, "We thought you were busy," or "It was a last-minute decision and we didn't have time to let you know." Initially, you might brush it off as a simple mistake, but if this happens repeatedly, you should realize that the issue isn't the last-minute decision, but their true intention. They don't want you to be part of the group, but don't have the courage to say so. Subtle exclusion often stems from others' insecurities or discomfort with your presence. They might feel uneasy around you for various reasons, perhaps jealousy, conflicting views, or a sense that you're a threat to their position within the group. Instead of openly confronting these feelings, they choose to quietly exclude you, hoping that you'll get the hint and step back on your own. This happens frequently in the workplace, where colleagues may meet outside of work hours for social gatherings, dinners, or private parties to strengthen their relationships. You might notice that you are left out of these events while others are invited. This can make you feel isolated, and if you don't recognize the problem for what it is, you may start blaming yourself or doubting your worth. Excuses like, "We thought you were busy," or "It was a last-minute decision," are often just ways for others to avoid facing the reality that they don't want you involved. This allows them to avoid the discomfort of telling the hard truth while keeping the relationship from becoming strained. However, if these excuses occur frequently, it's time to reassess that relationship. Realizing you've been excluded can cause feelings of hurt, isolation, and even self-doubt, but it's essential not to let these actions affect your self-worth. As Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, said, "No one can harm you unless you allow it." This means that while others may try to exclude you or make you feel unwelcome, you always have control over your emotions and can choose not to let these actions damage your self-esteem. Exclusion can be difficult to identify, especially when disguised by convincing excuses. You might think being left out was just a coincidence, but when it happens repeatedly, it's a clear sign that you're being intentionally excluded. One of the first signs of exclusion is when you're no longer involved in important conversations or group plans. For example, friends may talk about weekend outings but never mention inviting you. Or you might discover a gathering only after it's over, without having received an invitation. These small actions indicate that you're being pushed out silently and subtly. When you realize you're being excluded, the natural reaction for many people is to feel anger, sadness, or to wonder, "What did I do wrong?" However, Stoic philosophy teaches us that while we can't control others' actions, we can always control how we respond to them. Epictetus once said, "What harms us is not what happens, but how we view it." This means that exclusion can't truly hurt you unless you allow it to. Rather than feeling upset or angry, view this as an opportunity to reevaluate your relationships. Do you really want to be around people who don't respect you? Do you want to invest time and energy into relationships where you're not truly welcome? This exclusion might be a sign that it's time for you to seek out new relationships where you are appreciated and valued. Stoic philosophy encourages us to focus on what's within our control and let go of what isn't. You can't change others' decisions to exclude you, but you can change how you respond and choose not to let it affect your self-worth. Seneca said, "We must not let trivial matters distract us. Instead, focus on strengthening ourselves." This means that rather than letting exclusion weaken you, use it as an opportunity to build mental strength and avoid depending on others' acceptance. When you notice you're being excluded, there are a few ways to handle it wisely and assertively. Ask direct questions. If you feel you've been subtly excluded, don't be afraid to ask directly, "Why wasn't I invited?" This question forces others to confront their actions and explain their real reasons. Set boundaries. If exclusion happens frequently and you realize that your friends or colleagues don't truly respect you, consider setting clear boundaries. This doesn't mean cutting ties immediately, but you need to decide if these relationships are worth continuing. Seek new relationships. Don't be afraid to seek out new connections where you are welcome and respected. There are many people out there who will appreciate you for who you truly are. Exclusion might be an opportunity to broaden your social circle and find new friends. Maintain your self-esteem. Remember, your value doesn't come from whether others include you in their plans. Your value comes from the confidence and self-respect you have for yourself. Don't let exclusion make you doubt your worth. Sometimes exclusion isn't accidental, it's intentional. If you notice that your friends or colleagues consistently exclude you and show no signs of wanting to change, it might be time to seriously consider walking away from the relationship. Holding on to an unhealthy relationship will only bring you more pain and erode your confidence. Ask yourself, am I holding on to these relationships out of fear of loneliness, or do I truly believe they have value? In Stoic philosophy, letting go of things that no longer serve us is essential. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Don't cling to what has passed. Let it go and focus on what you can control." This means that if a relationship consistently makes you feel excluded and disrespected, don't hesitate to release it in pursuit of freedom and peace of mind. The truth is, exclusion can happen to anyone in any situation. But the important thing is not to let that exclusion define your value. You have control over how you respond, and you shouldn't let such actions undermine your self-esteem. Instead of feeling sad or angry, use this as an opportunity to evaluate your relationships and focus on those who truly respect you. After understanding how to handle subtle exclusion, let's move on to another sign of hidden dislike, but this time through a seemingly harmless action: busyness. Are others genuinely busy, or are they simply not making time for you? What does this mean, and how can you recognize it? Let's explore this in the next section. They are always busy when it comes to you. In life, we often notice that some people always seem to make time for relationships and events that matter to them. But have you ever realized that while they are readily available to hang out or meet with others, whenever it comes to you, they're suddenly too busy? They might say they're swamped with work, caught up in personal issues, or dealing with urgent matters. Yet when you look closer, they are perfectly able to show up elsewhere, with other people, spending time on other relationships without any issue. This isn't just a coincidence. It's a clear sign that you are no longer a priority in their life. In today's busy world, we all have moments when we're genuinely swamped. Work, family, and numerous other responsibilities can easily fill up anyone's schedule. But that doesn't mean we don't make time for the people we care about. The undeniable truth is that people will always make time for the things and the people they truly value. If someone continuously uses being busy as an excuse when you suggest meeting up or even just chatting, while they seem to have plenty of time for others, it's a clear indication that you no longer hold the same importance in their life. Stoic philosophy, with its emphasis on what truly matters, encourages us to recognize and reevaluate such relationships. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Time is the one thing that belongs to us. Don't waste it on those who don't value you." This means that if someone isn't willing to make time for you, it's a clear indicator that they don't truly value you. Instead of feeling hurt or disappointed, see it as an opportunity to reassess your relationships and focus on those who are willing to invest their time and care in you. There are many reasons why someone might always seem busy when you want to spend time with them. A common reason is that they have shifted their priorities to other relationships or activities. This doesn't necessarily mean you've done something wrong. It simply means that at this point in time, you are no longer a significant part of their life. They may not want to confront this truth, so they avoid seeing you by constantly being busy. Another reason might be that they feel uncomfortable in your relationship. There could be unresolved conflicts, or they may no longer find the relationship as positive or valuable as it once was. Rather than dealing with these feelings and addressing the issue, they choose to keep their distance and fill their time with other distractions. Whatever the reason, it's important not to blame yourself. Stoic philosophy reminds us that we cannot control others' emotions or actions, but we can control how we perceive and handle the situation. As Epictetus once said, "What harms you is not the event, but your perception of it." When you realize you're no longer a priority, don't question your own worth. Instead, consider whether this is a sign that the relationship is no longer aligned with your needs. In many cases, constant busyness can be a form of indirect rejection. Instead of outright telling you that they don't want to spend time with you, others may maintain a safe distance through excuses about their busy schedule. This allows them to avoid negative feelings or potential conflicts in the relationship. By staying busy, they can keep their relationship at arm's length without having to face the possibility of a direct breakup or confrontation. You may notice that every time you try to reach out or schedule a meeting, they always seem to have a reason to decline. Yet when you look into their life, they appear to have plenty of time for other people and activities. This isn't random. If someone only seems busy when it comes to you, it's a strong signal that you are no longer important to them in the way you might have once been. Realizing that you're no longer a priority in someone's life can be painful and disappointing. However, the key is not to let these negative emotions take control of your actions and thoughts. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control and to let go of what we cannot. When you notice that someone is always busy when it comes to you, approach the situation objectively. Don't jump to blame or feel insecure, but instead ask yourself, am I wasting my time on a relationship that no longer holds value? Marcus Aurelius once said, "Life is short. Don't waste it on things that don't matter." If a relationship no longer brings joy, support, or mutual respect, continuing to invest in it will only drain your precious time and energy. When you realize that someone isn't making time for you, instead of feeling hurt, see it as an opportunity to focus on relationships that are truly worthwhile. Life is too short to waste time on people who don't value you. It's crucial to seek out friendships and connections where you are respected, appreciated, and made a priority. A healthy relationship doesn't require you to constantly convince someone to make time for you. Instead, it's built on mutual understanding, support, and the willingness to invest time and care. If someone can't make time for you, it's not your problem. It's their choice. Look for people who are willing to put in the effort and spend time with you, just as you have done for them. If you've come to realize that someone's busyness is just an excuse to avoid you, there are several ways you can address the situation with wisdom and strength. The key is not to let negative emotions dictate your actions. Here are a few suggestions for handling the situation. Have a frank conversation. Sometimes directly talking to the person can clear up any misunderstandings. You could politely but directly ask, "I've noticed you've been really busy lately whenever I've tried to make plans. Is there something that's been bothering you?" This opens the door for them to share their feelings and makes it clear that you've recognized their avoidance. Accept the reality. If the person continues to be busy and shows no signs of changing, it may be time to accept that the relationship no longer holds the value it once did. This can be tough to acknowledge, but letting go of relationships that aren't healthy will ultimately bring you more peace. Set boundaries. If you feel hurt by someone's constant busyness, consider setting clear boundaries. You don't need to put up with indifference or avoidance. Ask yourself, is this relationship worth the time and emotional investment? If the answer is no, don't hesitate to move on. Invest in other relationships. Instead of focusing on the disappointment of someone not making time for you, channel your energy into other relationships. Seek out those who genuinely appreciate you and are willing to spend time with you. If someone's false busyness persists and you realize that the relationship is no longer adding value to your life, it may be time to let go and move on. Holding on to a relationship where you constantly have to fight for attention will only damage your self-esteem and drain your valuable energy. Remember, your time and energy are precious assets, and they should be invested in people and things that truly matter. Marcus Aurelius once said, "We are not here to please everyone, but to live true to ourselves." This means that if a relationship no longer aligns with your values, don't hesitate to let it go and seek something more deserving. In the end, remember, someone always being busy when it comes to you does not determine your worth. Your value does not depend on whether others make time for you or not. It lies in the confidence and self-respect you have within yourself. Instead of letting someone else's busyness bring you down, see it as a sign to focus on more deserving relationships where you are valued and appreciated. After recognizing that false busyness can be a sign of hidden rejection, we'll explore another, more apparent sign: avoidance of physical contact. This is not only a sign of discomfort, but also an indicator of growing distance in the relationship. Let's delve into this in the next section. They avoid physical contact with you in every relationship, whether it be friendship, romantic, or familial. Physical contact plays a key role in building connection and intimacy. A handshake, a hug, or even a gentle pat on the shoulder can foster feelings of closeness, trust, and safety. Physical contact is not only a sign of intimacy, but also a nonverbal way of strengthening bonds. However, when someone avoids physical touch specifically with you, while they may be comfortable doing so with others, it's a clear sign that something is off in the relationship. Physical touch is more than just a routine gesture in daily communication. It's an expression of trust and comfort between two people. Psychologically, humans need physical contact to feel loved, secure, and connected. In close relationships, such as deep friendships, family bonds, or romantic partnerships, acts like hugging, hand-holding, or even a simple touch during a conversation convey empathy and reinforce the connection. When someone avoids physical contact with you, it signals that they may no longer feel comfortable or that they are seeking to maintain emotional distance. This doesn't necessarily mean they dislike you, but it's a sign that something in the relationship has changed or that they're struggling to maintain closeness with you. Body language is a powerful tool for understanding others' emotions. Even when people speak kindly or politely, their body language can betray their true feelings. If someone is consistently avoiding physical contact, especially with you, it indicates that they no longer feel the intimacy or closeness they once did. This avoidance may manifest in ways such as refusing to shake hands, sitting far away during conversations, or avoiding even the smallest touches like a pat on the shoulder, especially if they're comfortable doing these things with others. These actions are often noticeable, but many of us tend to overlook or excuse them. You might tell yourself that they're just not comfortable with physical touch in general. But if they're perfectly fine with hugging, shaking hands, or touching others, then it's a clear indication that they are intentionally creating emotional distance from you. Stoic philosophy teaches us not to be swayed by others' emotions, but to recognize them objectively and truthfully. As Epictetus once said, "What injures us is not what happens, but how we react to it." In this situation, the key issue isn't that someone is avoiding physical contact, but how you perceive and respond to it. Instead of deceiving yourself that everything is fine, Stoicism encourages us to face the truth head-on and not avoid the reality of the situation. When you notice that someone avoids physical contact with you, ask yourself, what does this reflect about our relationship? Is there emotional distance, or is there a deeper issue I haven't noticed? Sometimes people avoid contact because they don't want to hurt you directly, so they subtly keep their distance. But it's important not to ignore these signs. There are several reasons why someone might avoid physical contact with you. One common reason is that they no longer feel comfortable with the emotional closeness. If you used to share affectionate gestures, but now they avoid them, it could mean that the relationship has shifted. They may feel the relationship is at a standstill, or that it no longer brings them the same positive feelings. Another reason could be unresolved resentment or conflict. Avoiding physical contact may reflect underlying tension or discomfort that they haven't yet dealt with. Rather than openly discussing the issue, they might choose to distance themselves physically to avoid confronting negative emotions. Additionally, this avoidance might signal a change in their feelings toward the relationship. In romantic relationships, when one person no longer feels interested or their affection has waned, they often avoid physical closeness to gradually create emotional separation. This is their way of sending the message that things aren't the same anymore without directly initiating a breakup. When you realize that someone is avoiding physical contact with you, the first step is not to ignore it or deceive yourself that everything is fine. Instead, face the issue honestly. This doesn't mean you should get angry or confrontational, but it's crucial to gain a clear understanding of what's happening. Sometimes sitting down for an honest conversation can help clear up misunderstandings or unresolved issues between the two of you. You could gently start by asking, "I've noticed that you've been avoiding physical contact with me lately. Is there something that's making you uncomfortable?" This opens the door for them to share their thoughts and feelings without feeling attacked. More importantly, it gives you a clearer perspective on where the relationship stands, allowing you both to work on it if you wish to maintain it. If they respond defensively or avoid the question, this might be a sign that they are unwilling to confront the issue, and the relationship may be reaching its end. In any case, being honest about the situation will help you avoid confusion and understand where you stand. If after trying to address the issue, they continue to avoid physical contact, it may be time to consider letting go of the relationship. Physical closeness is an essential part of maintaining connection in any relationship. When someone continually distances themselves physically, it's a strong indicator that they are no longer comfortable or interested in keeping the relationship the way it was. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If something no longer serves your progress, let it go." This means that if a relationship no longer brings closeness, support, or comfort, you don't have to hold on to it. Maintaining a relationship where you constantly feel rejected or distant will only hurt your self-esteem and rob you of inner peace. Letting go doesn't mean you're giving up on the person. It means you're letting go of unrealistic expectations that they will change. Sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is release a relationship that no longer serves you, allowing space for new and better connections to form. Stoicism consistently teaches us that we cannot control others, but we can control ourselves. When faced with someone avoiding you, rather than trying to change them or hold on to the relationship at all costs, Stoicism advises us to let go of what no longer brings value to our lives. Epictetus said, "Freedom comes not from controlling others, but from controlling ourselves." Remember, letting go of a relationship doesn't mean failure. Instead, it's a courageous choice to pursue what's better for you, allowing yourself to grow and find more fulfilling relationships. In conclusion, when someone avoids physical contact with you, it's a clear sign of emotional distance in the relationship. Rather than feeling hurt or blaming yourself, approach the situation with objectivity and honesty. If the relationship no longer provides the closeness and comfort you desire, don't hesitate to let it go and seek more fulfilling connections. After recognizing that avoiding physical contact is a sign of emotional distance, let's explore another even clearer sign: when someone disappears during your moments of need. This is not just a sign of indifference, but a strong indicator of a lack of commitment in the relationship. Let's dive into this in the next section. They disappear. When you need support. One of the most important measures of a genuine relationship is whether someone is present during difficult times. Life is full of joyful moments and successes, but also inevitable periods of hardship and challenges. These are the moments when we need help and encouragement from those around us. However, if someone always shows up for the fun times but disappears when you need them the most, it's a clear sign that the relationship isn't truly strong or sincere. During joyful moments, the presence of others is usually abundant. It's easy to attract attention and have people around when you're successful or happy. But during tough times, the feeling of loneliness becomes stark. If you've ever experienced sending a message to someone when you needed help only to be met with silence, or worse, excuses like, "I'm too busy, let's talk later," you know the sting of being abandoned when you need support. People who vanish when you need support lack true commitment to the relationship. They only appear when things are easy and fun, but avoid you when the situation becomes complicated or requires emotional, material, or time-related support. This is not just a sign of indifference, but also an indication that they don't value the relationship as much as you might have thought. There are several reasons why people may disappear when you need help. One reason could be fear and insecurity. When you're struggling, the other person might feel unsure of how to help, or they may not want to confront negative emotions. Rather than spending the time and effort to stand by you, they choose to avoid the situation altogether. They may fear that getting involved in your difficulties will place a burden on them, and they want to avoid that responsibility. Another reason is that they simply don't value the relationship. When someone doesn't make time for you in your toughest moments, it shows they aren't willing to invest in the relationship. They may prefer to keep the relationship surface level, enjoying the good times but retreating when things get tough. For them, the relationship might only be a source of entertainment or enjoyment, rather than a meaningful bond worth supporting through thick and thin. Stoic philosophy teaches us to focus on what we can control, and one of the most important things we can control is who we allow to stay in our lives. Epictetus said, "We cannot control others, but we can control who remains in our lives." This means that while you can't change whether someone disappears or stays, you have the power to decide if they deserve to continue being part of your life. If someone only shows up during easy times and disappears when you need them the most, it's a clear sign that the relationship isn't built on a solid foundation. People who truly care about you will be willing to stand by you, even in the toughest times. They may not always have solutions or advice, but their mere presence is often enough to show they genuinely care. A strong relationship isn't just built on happiness and good times. It's also defined by the ability to weather hardships together. When you're going through tough times and need support, true friends or loved ones won't hesitate to be there, to listen, and to offer help. They may not be able to solve all your problems, but their willingness to share the burden is a testament to the value of the relationship. In contrast, those who aren't willing to stand by you during difficult moments are likely not genuinely invested in the relationship. They may only see the relationship as a temporary convenience, happy to share in the joy, but quick to disappear when challenges arise. These are not the people you should prioritize in your life. When you realize that someone disappears when you need support, it's important not to blame yourself. Instead, view it as an opportunity to reassess the relationship. Do you really want to continue investing in a relationship where the other person isn't willing to support you when it matters most? Stoic philosophy teaches us to let go of relationships that don't add value to our lives. Be brave enough to accept that not everyone can be a reliable companion. Some people thrive on comfort and fun, but when faced with difficulty, they quickly retreat. This doesn't reflect your worth, but simply shows that the person isn't committed enough to maintain a meaningful, long-term relationship. Once you've identified who truly stands by you in times of difficulty and who disappears, you'll have a clearer understanding of which relationships are worth keeping and which ones should be let go. Letting go of relationships without genuine support won't just make you feel lighter, but will also free up time and energy for relationships that truly matter. Epictetus said, "True freedom does not come from holding on to everything, but from letting go of what no longer serves your purpose." This means that if a relationship no longer provides the support and closeness you need, don't be afraid to let it go. Letting go is not a sign of failure, but rather a courageous decision to prioritize what truly matters in your life. After releasing unhealthy relationships, it's important to seek and build new connections that are more valuable. True friends will be there not only during the fun times, but also when life gets tough. They won't disappear when you need support. Instead, they will stand by you, offering a solid foundation of trust and care. A worthy relationship is one based on mutual sharing, commitment, and genuine concern from both sides. This will not only make you feel loved and respected, but will also help you grow emotionally and spiritually. If after many attempts to nurture and invest in the relationship, the other person still continues to disappear when you need them, it's a clear sign that it's time to let go. Maintaining a relationship without support will only leave you feeling drained and affect your self-worth. Remember, you deserve friends who genuinely care and are willing to stand by you during all stages of life. As Marcus Aurelius said, life is too short to waste on things that have no value. Be brave and let go of relationships that aren't worth keeping, and find peace in those who truly deserve to be in your life. A genuine relationship isn't just evident in moments of joy, but in the willingness to stay and support each other during difficult times. People who disappear when you need help do not deserve a place in your life. Instead, seek out those who will stand by you no matter how tough life gets. You deserve genuine care and support, and letting go of relationships that lack commitment will help you move toward a happier, more peaceful life. After understanding the importance of support in a sincere relationship, we'll now explore another sign of dislike that's often hidden under seemingly acceptable behavior: gossiping behind your back. Someone might treat you kindly in person, but if they speak ill of you behind your back, it's a clear sign of disrespect. Let's dive deeper into this in the next section. They gossip behind your back. Gossip is one of the most subtle yet destructive forms of sabotage in relationships. When someone talks behind your back, they're not only damaging your reputation, but also eroding trust and undermining the foundation of your relationship. This doesn't just hurt, it leaves you feeling betrayed. Those who engage in gossip lack the courage to confront you directly, demonstrating a deep level of disrespect. Facing this can be painful and difficult, but Stoic philosophy helps us approach the situation calmly while maintaining control over our emotions. Gossip often stems from negative emotions like jealousy, dissatisfaction, or the gossiper's need to elevate themselves. Sometimes people gossip not because you've done something wrong, but because they feel insecure in their own lives, or they want to improve their image by belittling others. Gossip creates distance between them and you, all while maintaining a friendly facade to your face. You might hear rumors or realize that someone has been saying untrue things about you to others. Gossip might start small, like a minor complaint, but when repeated and spread, it can have serious consequences. These rumors, true or false, damage your reputation, fracture relationships, and sometimes make you doubt yourself. In many cases, gossip becomes a tool to manipulate your image in the eyes of others, diminishing your value to them. Trust is the foundation of any relationship. When someone gossips about you, they're not just hurting your reputation, but also damaging the trust you've placed in them. In relationships, whether it's friendship, love, or professional connections, trust is key to maintaining harmony and connection. But once trust is broken by gossip, the relationship slowly disintegrates. Gossip is often accompanied by two-faced behavior. They may smile and act friendly in front of you, but spread false stories or exaggerate your flaws behind your back. This leaves you feeling deceived and confused, wondering if the person you trusted was ever truly sincere. Once trust is broken, it's difficult to rebuild, and the relationship may never return to what it once was. Stoic philosophy reminds us that our worth does not depend on what others say about us. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, once said, "Do not be concerned with what others think of you, for they themselves do not understand who they are." This quote reminds us that those who gossip often act out of ignorance of themselves, and their words do not define us. When faced with gossip, it's crucial not to let the rumors affect your self-esteem. You control how you react to such situations. Instead of feeling angry or hurt, view the situation objectively. What belongs to us and what does not is a fundamental question in Stoic philosophy. You cannot control what others say about you, but you can control how you respond and ensure their words don't shake your dignity. When you realize that someone is gossiping about you, the first thing to do is not react emotionally. Stay calm and don't let anger control your actions. Gossip often tests our patience and self-control. People who spread rumors often expect you to react strongly or be deeply affected by it. One of the best ways to deal with gossip is to not let it disturb your peace of mind. Another wise approach is to address the issue directly but calmly and constructively. You might say, "I've heard that you've been saying this about me. Is it true? If there's any misunderstanding, or if I've done something wrong, we can discuss it openly." Confronting the issue directly will often make the gossiper reflect on their actions and feel uncomfortable for being exposed. However, you must also be prepared for the fact that not everyone will admit their wrongdoings. Some people may deny it or even continue lying to protect themselves. In these cases, stay firm in your resolve and do not let their words affect you. Stoic philosophy teaches that our true strength lies in our ability to remain dignified and composed, no matter what is happening around us. Gossip is a clear indicator that the relationship lacks sincerity. Someone who truly cares about you would never talk badly behind your back, as they understand that trust and respect are the foundations of any meaningful relationship. If you discover that a friend or colleague has been gossiping about you, take it as an opportunity to reevaluate that relationship. In Stoic philosophy, we are encouraged to build relationships based on honesty and authenticity. You don't need to maintain toxic relationships that bring more harm than good. Instead, focus on finding and nurturing relationships where you are respected and valued for who you truly are. If gossip becomes a regular occurrence in your relationship, and all efforts to improve the situation fail, it may be time to let go of that relationship. Maintaining a relationship where you are constantly talked about behind your back will only leave you feeling drained and hurt. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Life is too short to waste on things that have no value. Be brave enough to let go of relationships that don't offer the sincerity and support you deserve." Letting go of a toxic relationship isn't a sign of failure, but a necessary step to protect your peace of mind and build a happier life. If you decide to maintain the relationship after discovering gossip, it's essential to clarify the issue and rebuild trust. This will require honesty and patience from both sides. Ensure the other person understands the harm gossip causes and commits to change, so the relationship can be rebuilt on a foundation of respect and sincerity. If both parties can overcome this challenge, your relationship may become stronger. But if the gossiper continues their behavior, it's necessary to let go and seek peace in other, healthier relationships. Gossip cannot define your worth. Rumors are merely reflections of others' ignorance and jealousy. Seneca wisely reminded us not to be concerned with what others think of us. Always remember your value lies in your dignity, integrity, and honesty. Don't let gossip undermine your self-confidence. After exploring these 7 signs that someone doesn't like you but hides it, You should now have a clearer understanding of how to recognize and deal with these subtle behaviors. The most important lesson is not to let these actions hurt your self-esteem. In the final section, we'll summarize key Stoic principles that will help you maintain peace and dignity in any situation. Conclusion. Stoic philosophy offers us an invaluable lesson in how to face life and the relationships around us. On this journey, the most important thing is not how others treat us, but how we choose to react to these situations. The signs that someone doesn't like you but is hiding it are merely small fragments in the larger picture of life. They lose their significance when you embrace confidence and self-worth, qualities that help you stand firm against judgment in the opinions of others. Seneca once said, "We suffer not from the events in our lives, but from our judgment about them." In every situation, the pain and hurt don't stem from others' actions, but from how we allow those actions to invade our thoughts and emotions. Once you recognize your own value, you will no longer be shaken by others' criticisms or disrespectful behavior. This is the power of self-control, a virtue that Stoic philosophy continually emphasizes. People who don't respect you, relationships lacking sincerity, or those that are superficial will no longer impact your self-esteem when you focus on what truly matters. The people who are genuine, who love and respect you. This is where your time and emotional energy should be invested. Remember, as Epictetus said, no one can hurt you unless you allow it. This means others can only harm you emotionally if you let them control your feelings and thoughts. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic thinkers, advised, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good person should be. Be one." His words provide deep guidance on how to face betrayal, disrespect, or malicious gossip. You cannot control how others think or act towards you, but you can absolutely control how you respond. Most importantly, you can control who is allowed to stay in your life. Genuine friends, relationships built on mutual respect and affection, these are the connections worth your time, energy, and emotions. True strength doesn't lie in convincing others to like you, but in your ability to choose and keep those who deserve to be part of your life. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, your value doesn't depend on the approval of others, but on the dignity you maintain for yourself. Life is too short to waste on those who don't truly care or respect you. Be courageous in letting go of toxic relationships and move toward connections that bring peace and empathy. Walk forward with confidence and build a life where you feel loved, respected, and valued. This is the true power and joy that Stoic philosophy seeks to impart.